At 11 p.m. on July 12th, the Wuhan section of the Yangtze River had the biggest flood since the beginning of the year, with water levels reaching over 28 meters, exceeding the warning level by almost 1.5 meters, making it the fourth highest water level in history. The flow rate reached 56,000 meters cubed per second. The peak of the flood occurred at Yangtze River Station at 6 p.m. on the 12th. The flood, with a water level of almost 23 meters, was 2.81 meters above the warning level, the second highest level ever, and the corresponding flow reached an astonishing 61,800 meters cubed per second. In times of flooding, the Chinese government uses the practice of diverting floodwaters into so-called flood reservoirs in order to protect major cities from inundation. A flood reservoir area is an area open to manually divert floodwater to a reservoir when the water level in a river or lake rises to the flood warning line. Before the floods hit, some Chinese citizens told the media that officials might release floodwaters at the expense of 6 districts around Wuhan city to avoid flooding Wuhan. Since July 12th, the local government has asked all people in the flood reservoir area to evacuate, but neither ways of providing necessities nor specific relocation locations were specified. Residents do not know where to evacuate, so they can only flee for their lives by their own means. On July 12th, the floodgate of Wang Lake in Yangtze County, about 145 kilometers downstream of Wuhan City, was opened. On the morning of July 13th, the Honghu Lake, located about 170 kilometers upstream of Wuhan City, was opened in an emergency. Videos uploaded on July 14th showed Honghu Lake's water level was rising rapidly, leading to emergency relocation of villages in the flood reservoir area. At the location where the Hu-Shinshan Hospital was constructed during the pandemic in Wuhan, a whole village was relocated. Huangmei County, a small town about 180 kilometers downstream of Wuhan and 110 kilometers upstream of Poyang Lake, where extreme flooding is still ongoing, also witnessed its outer continental bank being submerged. Residents said the government did not give advance notice to allow people to evacuate. Sandbags were removed to let the water in before people could grab any personal belongings. The city of Zhejiang in Jiangxi province has adopted the same approach as Wuhan and is keeping the city from flooding at the expense of regions in flood reservoir areas. On July 12th, Poyang Lake District issued 3 emergency notices in succession, requesting 3 surrounding towns to evacuate. Residents in Zhejiang's Mianqiao Zhen town and Zhejiang's Jiangzhou town were asked to evacuate by July 12th and July 13th, respectively. In the early morning of July 13th, the flood control headquarters of Jiangxi province issued an urgent notice that all areas of low-lying land in the Poyang Lake area must be evacuated to open the flood reservoir. There are 185 low-lying areas, called polders, in this lake area, and 153 single polders were flooded in the evening of July 12th. The amount of flooding is estimated at 2 billion cubic meters. On July 14th, the residents were evacuated in the Poyang Lake District, but the bridge which was necessary for evacuation was already submerged in 2 to 3 meters of water, so the villagers were stuck in a dilemma. In addition, Longkou village in Poyang County has also become an island, with the entire village submerged in water with the fresh water supply and electricity cut off. Many people may wonder, why doesn't the government notify citizens before discharging the water, as it results in immense damages and losses? According to China's regulations, for a temporary breach of the embankment to divert flooded discharge water, which falls under the category of emergency disaster prevention measures, the government is not responsible for compensation. If the government gives advance notice of a flood discharge, it will need to face legal compensation issues. But if it releases the floodwater without warning, the excuse of natural disasters would be exempt from compensation. In addition, China's insurance system is not well developed. Most rural houses and property are not insured, and one's vehicle insurance does not cover damages caused by floods. At the end of the day, the residents will have to bear all the losses themselves. Someone once asked an official privately why he did not inform the villagers in advance of the floods so that they could relocate their property. He said, "How can this be? Once you give them a notice, will citizens agree? They'll demand compensation for crops, livestock, graves, and without tens of billions of dollars, it cannot be settled. But if it's a natural disaster, give them a few packets of instant noodles, and they will be extremely thankful."
下午7、8点钟吧，得到通知，他说那个赶快撤离，人走出来了，衣服都没拿去。我家还有10几万货都没拿出来。没来之前，我们就在抢救物资嘛。
Thank you for listening to China Observer, Vision Times. To stay up to date on this story, among others emerging from China, please continue to watch our channel.